Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report, reporting live at this year's 2024 National Grid Syracuse International Jazz Fest here in the heart of downtown Clinton Square here at Syracuse, New York. Blessing the band stage this year in an unprecedented tribute to the great lady of song, Miss Ella Fitzgerald, is R&B icon Miss Freda Payne. Now, Miss Freda Payne is having a stellar 2024 year. One, she just released her autobiography, Band of Gold, which is now available on Amazon.com, as well as she's doing this tribute, this musical, First Lady of Song, Ella Fitzgerald. Tonight here on the Pace Report, you're going to see highlights of Miss Freda Payne performing songs by Miss Ella Fitzgerald with the big band, as well as we sit down and we break bread and we reflect on the life of Miss Ella Fitzgerald, as well as we sit down and talk about the new autobiography, as well as reflect on the great Lamont Dozier of the writing crew of Holland Dozier Holland. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of the premiere of Miss Freda Payne performing tribute to the great lady of song, Miss Ella Fitzgerald, here at this year's 2024 National Grid Syracuse International Jazz Fest, here in downtown Syracuse, here at Clinton Square, here on the Pace Report.
Believe me when I tell you, you know, I don't. My husband said she knocks a man when she comes to town. Such a game, why it's a shame how she woes them down. Fellas, she can't get up. Fellas, she ain't there. Georgia named her, Georgia claimed her. Sweet Georgia Brown. Look at her shade up. Sweet Georgia Brown. To my feet, but oh so neat. Sweet Georgia Brown. They all sigh and wanna die when she comes to town. You better believe me when I tell you. You know I don't lie. Don't sit Boy, she really pulls them down. Georgia claimed her. Georgia claimed her. Georgia named her. Georgia claimed her. Sweet, sweet, sweet Georgia brown. Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Miss Payne, I'm honored again to sit down and break bread with you. The last time we sat down, we were in Detroit, and you had just released an album and you sang with the big band. And tonight, you're performing tribute to Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes,
and you,
I am.
And you just did a Broadway musical in Detroit. It just opened. How is this going?
It's going great. I was in a place called Auburn Hills, Rochester, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. And I was at the Meadowbrook Theater, and I performed the role of Ella Fitzgerald in a play that was written by Lee Summers and directed by Lee Summers called Ella, First Lady of Song. And I played the role of Ella Fitzgerald.
When was the first time you saw Ella Fitzgerald live?
Oh wow, that was in 1969 in New York, and it was the Empire State Building, and they used to have, I don't think they still have it now, but there was a nightclub downstairs, like in the basement of the Empire State Building, and it was called the Riverboat, and she was performing there, and I was invited there by my friend Faye Treadwell. Faye Treadwell was married, her husband was George Treadwell. He was once married to Dinah Washington, and then of course he was also married to Sarah Vaughan at one time. And she managed the Drifters. As a matter of fact, there's a musical that I saw in London a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, it's been about 3 years ago. And the musical is called The Drifter's Girl. And it's about the Drifters. And Faye Treadwell was their manager from the very beginning. So I was 19 when I met Ella. I was 19 years old. And Faye invited me to go with her because she and Ella were friends. They knew each other. And so after Ella finished her show, we went backstage to the dressing room, and of course she and Faye were friends, and I just sat in a chair after she introduced me to Ella, and I looked at, and the hair on my arms just stood up. I was just in awe. I was like, oh my God, I'm sitting here in a room with Ella Fitzgerald. Oh, you know, that kind of thing.
Now, Ella was unique to the idiom of this music because, you know, she wasn't like her contemporary Sarah Vaughan or Carmen McRae. The songs that she sang, and into her presence, what were some of the things about her style that made her so different from her contemporaries?
Okay, Sarah's voice was like a viola, like mellow, you know, that kind of. And Carmen, she accompanied herself as well. You know, she was a musician as well, Carmen McRae, and she was a great jazz singer as well. And well, Ella was just different from both of them. Her style, she had a voice that was pure. It was very pure. Not that Sarah's wasn't pure or Carmen wasn't pure. They had their own styles. But Ella was more articulate, I think, and she scattered. I think she was maybe a better scatter than all of them. She could scat her tail off, you know. And she just had that musicality about her that you wonder, like, how in the world did she acquire that kind of talent and the ability to do that? Because it takes a little bit of talent to do, you know. Some people have to learn it by rote, you know, like note by note, movement by movement, whereas I scat, and I can scat, and I don't necessarily copy Ella. I just scat using my own imagination. so to speak.
I've wined and dined on mulligan stew and never asked for turkey as I hitched and hiked and drifted too from Maine to Albuquerque. Alas, I missed the Bozart's ball, and what is twice as sad, I was never at a party where they honored no cat. But social circles spin too fast for me. My whole Bohemia is the place to be. I get too hungry for dinner at 8. I love the theater, but never ever go late. I never bother with people that I hate. That's why lady is a tramp. I don't play crab games with the hang-arounds or earls, and I won't go to Harlem in ermine and pearls, and I won't miss the dirt with the rest of the girls. That's why lady is a tramp. I like the free, British wind in my hair, life without fear. I'm rolling, that's rolling. California, it's cold and smoky and bad. That's why the lady is a tramp. I go to Coney, the beach is divine. I love a ball game, the bleachers are just fine. I read Walter Winchell in the New York Times. That's why the lady is a tramp. I like a prize fight that isn't unfake, and I love the rolling on Central Park Lake. I go to the opera and I stay wide awake. That's why the lady is a tramp. Like the green grass under my shoes. What can I lose? That's that. I'm all alone when I'm over my man. That's why the lady is a tramp. She's a hobo. She's a scam. She's a low down, dirty tramp. That is why the lady, she is a tramp.
Let's talk about the musical. I mean, you're walking in some heavy shoes. This is the first lady of song, and just the fact that this woman, not only with the thing with Norman Granz, who helped take her and catapult her career during the late 50s and 60s, the content of the music for this, I bet, had to be researched to a T, and then some of the songs you had to feel comfortable singing. How easy and hard was this for this?
Well, the singing part was easy for me. The hard part was learning lines. And then I had a wonderful cast. A lady by the name of Nicole Powell played Georgiana, who was Ella's first cousin. and who traveled with Ella. You know, took care of Ella. She traveled with Ella. And then there's a girl named Deborah Walton who she played young Ella, like when Ella was a teenager. And also she had a duo role. She played young Ella, and then she played Ella's half sister Frances, you know. And so Deborah Walton, Nicole Powell, and a guy by the name of Eric Coles played Norman Granz. And I have to say, this was the 4th time I've done the play. And Eric Coles, I think, was the best Norman Granz I've worked with. Deborah Walton is excellent. Nicole Powell is excellent. I had an excellent cast. And of course, Lee Summers wrote the script and directed it. And we had great musical, the band was great. The musical director, who also played the role of Duke Ellington, Dion Hendricks, we called him DJ. And we had Bobby Laval, who on saxophone, who played with Count Basie and Duke Ellington and the Duke Ellington Band, and trombone was Dennis Wilson, and he actually told me, he said he played with Ella a couple of times, you know, so he goes way back, you know, he's a veteran, you know, a veteran musician. And then the trumpet player, he's a guy that his name is Patrick, and trumpet player. So, and I've worked with him before as well. So it was and the drummer who played Chick Webb, Greg Buford. Now Greg has played in the Ella plays from the very beginning. He played in the first play I did of Ella in 2004 when Maurice Hines was directing and choreographing. And then Greg played, every time I've done the play, Greg Buford has been the drummer playing Chick Webb.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. And for those viewers, Norman Granz was the founder of Jazz Philharmonic. He founded Verve Records.
Yeah, Verve Records.
Yes.
It's still around today.
Yes, it is. You know, her songs, Mr. Paganini, Don't Mean a Thing If It Don't Mean That Swing. Their songs, she had a canon of signature songs. Which are your favorite by her?
Mr. Paganini. I love Mr. Paganini because it gives me a chance to let go and scat. And then, of course, you remember A Tisket a Tasket?
That's another
She was a co-writer on that. She wrote that along with a guy named Lou Alexander, and his real name was Larry Feldman, but then when it became a big hit, he changed his name to Lou Alexander.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somewhere there's music I'm thinking to. Somewhere never high moon. There is no moon above when love is far away too. Till it comes true that you love me as I love you. Somewhere there's heaven. That's where you are. Somewhere there's music. How near, how far. The brightest star would shine if you would come to me soon. Until your wind will house down how high the moon is named this song. How high the moon, the words might be wrong. I'm singing it because you asked for it, and I'm swinging it just for you. How high the moon, the words might be wrong. I'm singing the words to the song. I'm singing high, 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 high is the moon.
have an autobiography,
Yes,
Band
I
of
do.
Gold, and you know, there's a couple of things I tell my friends. I'm not gonna. I'm physically proof. But there was a pictorial of you in Jet magazine, and I'm like, all these young ladies, Meg Thee Stallion, all these young ladies. I said, no, Miss Payne was all of them before, and all wrapped up in one before. Now, I'm looking back now, some years, doing that. Have you seen progression as far as women being portrayed positively and negatively? And do you think that when you were doing it, it was a different time, and now we're dealing with a different era? What is your take on what's going on right now with a lot of the women performers out now?
Well, I see some of them. I think they're like Megan Thee Stallion. They're showing more sexuality, more, I think, a little bit more nudity. Although I think I did my little part too. Back then, there's one picture that was in Jet, and it became infamous because I was showing my thighs, but I wasn't showing my breast. You know, that was covered up, but I was showing my thighs all the way up almost to my hip. And the singers nowadays that I see, they come out. Oh, look at Taylor Swift. She come to me. She's wearing a jewel leotard. You know, with all her thighs out, and legs and thighs out. Back then, singers wore long gowns. You know, you wore like a long gown, or you maybe had a slit up the side, or whatever, a slit up the middle, or whatever. But I think the singers today, they show more sex. They sell more sex. I have to reference Taylor Swift. I don't ever see her in a gown. All I see her is the short jewel, like the fancy little leotard. She dresses like a chorus girl.
But here's the thing too, Miss Payne, that I noticed.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
But that's what's happening.
Right, because you came up in the era when the 70s, when the variety shows were kind of going out. But Bob Mackie would design these elaborate gowns for you, Cher.
Diana Ross, that was her guy.
Yeah.
Bob Mackie. Bob Mackie never designed anything for me. That was almost he did it. He was exclusive to Cher and Diana Ross.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And Carol Burnett, because he did all the gowns for Carol Burnett. Yeah.
All right, but I kind of missed out on being. I wish I could have. I mean, why not? You know?
Band of Gold is just your life story. And
Band of Gold is like my calling card. I call it my calling card.
What took you so long to get this out?
Band of Gold?
Yeah.
Well, I recorded it it came out in 1970. It was actually recorded in 1969 in, I think, November, December, and then it was released in 1970 in February. You know, and then by the summer it was a massive hit of 1970.
Invictus Records.
Holland
Dozier Holland. Yes. And I want to ask you about Lamont Dozier. We lost him last year.
I know, Lamont. Oh, that was so sad. You know, I went to school with Lamont. We went to school. We were in middle school together.
What was the chemistry between the Holland brothers and Lamont Dozier? Because, you know, they had that rich history at Motown with writing those great records with the Supremes and Marvin Gaye. What was your relationship like working with those guys?
Oh, great. First of all, I loved Eddie Holland. And Brian, I went to high school classes with Brian. I went to middle school with Lamont. So these are people that I had known from when I was like a kid. I'm talking about 13, 14, years old. So these were like folks I knew before they even started becoming famous or writing songs. They were, we were all friends. I mean, we knew each other.
Another important part of this book, the foreword was written by the great Mary Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things I loved about Miss Wilson.
Well, she didn't write it. She did the foreword.
Forward.
Like,
She did
the
the forward
forward notes. Yeah.
The thing about her that she carried to her grave was the fact that she brought, those three young ladies brought a rich legacy to not only just singing in girls groups, but they were the quintessential, they were the group. How do you guys go back and give me some reflections of Miss Wilson?
Well, Mary and I had become best friends, and we didn't really know each other in Detroit. We got to know each other out in LA, and that goes back to the 70s, So, and then we became, we just kind of like clicked as friends, because we hang out, like we had fun and stuff like that, and sometimes we'd be on the same show.
That'll do it again for this very special edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here in the heart of Clinton Square, here in downtown Syracuse, New York, for the 2024 National Grid Syracuse International Jazz Fest. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Freda Payne for her time. Also, I'd like to congratulate and thank the incomparable artistic director of this fantastic festival, Mr. Frank Malfitano. As always, people, I can't stress this more than enough. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube and Vimeo, and leave comments. Also, follow me on social media by way of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.
Tisket, a tasket, a brown and yellow basket. I wrote a letter to my mommy, and on the way I dropped it